Welcome to BlackUSA.News Morning Show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all of my people out there in internet land. This is William Honolulu Jr. coming to you. It's one of those times where I'm just grateful to be alive. Like it is. Whoo! Today is Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. And one of the things that we're going to start talking about in a big way with our Mental Health Monday is grief. And that's going to start this Monday. Shannon Battle is our our social worker, our licensed clinical and independent with a whole bunch of titles and stuff behind her name. Is going to help us work through some of the bigger issues and really how do we address them in the Black community. For example, grief. I know that I have experienced way more loss than I am used to. And it hits different. And how we respond different. It has to be different. When you think about the changes in times with COVID, everything about life has to be different, including how we grieve and how we receive support for our grieving. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation about that because it's a very real topic and it is hitting our community with the losses that we're experiencing. It's hitting our community disproportionately hard. So, as always, want to say a big shout out to our super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, who keeps us focused, directed, and on point. When I tell you this man is behind the scenes working, he is killing the game, especially what we have planned for you all for March. Black History Month is coming up in a couple of weeks. A couple weeks. We have a great lineup. We're going to start off talking about Black businesses. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Black love. We're going to talk about all things Black, a little bit different than we normally do. We're going to explore, as opposed to taking up issues and just kind of running with them. We're going to explore some of these issues in greater depth throughout February. But in March is the morning show's month of women. And what we're going to do then is really give an opportunity and make sure that this is a platform to be used to share the stories that women have, not to try to come in and hawk anything or try to sell anything or really promote one role over another, but just to be open and talk about what is the identity. What is it like to walk through life as a Black woman? Because sometimes my experience is that when I talk to my friends, they think that their experiences are unique or their own fault. And I have found that as I watch people share information, and especially when they realize it's not just them, it changes the dynamic a lot. It really does. And I'm hopeful that our March shows will do that for a lot of people. So we'll talk more about it. I already skipped a whole month. I'm excited, but yeah. Looking forward to all things beautiful and Black. Let's say a big shout out to our sponsors, the people that make us capable of doing this. As always, we are in the metaverse. So for those of you all who are streaming and watching us on STEM City USA, hey, big shout out to you. Tyrone Taborn, Dr. Taborn, and the whole crew over there making things happen. We are exceptionally grateful for your investment and all that you do for the Black community. STEM City USA has been an ardent supporter of the Black Engineer of the Year Awards and NESB, and has just done some really meaningful things in our community. So big up to them. You all know I love talking about edible arrangements. Like even when I'm not sad, when we want to celebrate something, why don't y'all, that's what you could do. Especially now, I put a picture on here this time and you can see the dove and the white chocolate. Yeah, that one. Now, if you that one, now all the rest of the stuff is great. Like I got to be honest, I don't even know where they get their fruit from because it always tastes good. Like I'm like, how do you not have a bag? Because I know when I go grocery shopping, like some stuff is in season, not in season. How your stuff is always in season? That's disrespectful. You make me feel like incomplete in my grocery game. But you know, that's I'm gonna talk to my therapist about it because that's probably something I should put on the list. But we'll talk about that later. Never mind, never mind. But Edible Arrangements, their stores in Govins and in Randallstown, they do incredible work. Also, they have a location in Pittsburgh, and they support the community. And you know how we love doing that here. Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy. Every day I tell you guys about how Judge Murphy has been a vanguard in civil rights and social justice for the African American community. And his law firm continues that practice. So if you feel like you have some civil litigation issues, discrimination, anything like that, it will not hurt you just to reach out and give them a call and see how they can help you. Oh, Darker Than Blue. You know, I'm an inner. I got my inner chubby kid, my inner fat kid isn't so inner, and so he loves to go places where there's good food to eat. And yeah, he has a good time at Darker Than Blue. So big ups to the staff over there, especially the way that they put down the salmon. Every day I tell you all about that. Forget it. Never mind. All right. Whew. Okay. I got hungry already. So what happens when you don't eat breakfast before the show? You know what? Let me not even front. You all see me do this damn near every morning, huh? Yeah. I'm gonna switch up my style one day, eat before we get here, but it's not today. I tell you that much. The warrior lawyer J. Wendell Gordon. If you find yourself in a situation where you are on the wrong side of the criminal justice system, again, it does you no harm just to call him. He is the warrior lawyer on purpose. His people vouch for him. His record vouches for him. And a lot of times, you know, it may when you have a lawyer with a reputation, it causes the police and the state's attorney to really go like, well, wait a minute, how sure are we on this case? And it gets them to step up their game. So make sure that you hit the warrior lawyer up if you have any situations, challenges, or concerns that you need handled. As per you all know, my company, The Grinding Gang, we want to help you make sure that you can take your business to the next level, whether that's a for-profit business or a nonprofit business. We provide free memberships and free resources for you to just really step up your game. 2022 can be your year. There are a lot of people who came through 2020 and 2021 through challenges like we talked to Dee of Delory Apparel. They not only made it through this far in the pandemic, they increased their business. And a lot of that has to do with having quality information that you can build on and really be able to pivot when you need to. So you all can always hit me up. Thegrindinggang.com is where you can get the info. Let's see. Oh, and as always, big shout out to Black Speakers Network. They have today's guest is courtesy of Black Speakers Network. So big up to Brian Olds and the whole team over there. So yay. Let's see what else. Who else? Oh, yesterday's show. We had an opportunity to talk to Avery Simone of Black Woman Moguls, and had a really great opportunity to kind of dig into some of the experiences that Black women have as they navigate the business space. It was amazing as always, and she really helped us think through the different ways that women, especially Black women, have to develop a personal and a professional brand, and how to still make sure that you create a brand that other people can deal with, can engage, but at the same time, having a brand that is still true to who you are. It was a great conversation, and if you get an opportunity, go ahead and check that out. Tomorrow we get a chance to talk to Dr. Quinyon Scott on how it is to manage how you should, I guess you should say, how you should manage your career as a Black educator. There are a lot of people who are in the field of education a lot of Black people there. Now, unfortunately, they're only 7% of the entire education, professional educator population. But there are a lot of people in our communities who are engaged, and because most of those places where there's the 7% live is in our communities. And so it's important to figure out how to navigate your career in the educational field, especially as things are changing. Education does not look like, especially K through 12, what it did 3 years ago. And what it will look like in 3 years is nothing like it looks right now. So we need to make sure that we prepare career-wise, so that we are in the best position so that we can take advantage of the opportunity. All right, let's see what else. Big shout out to Kendrick Tillman, DJ 5 Star. He does great work. He's also known as the STEM DJ. He's been able to use DJing and the techniques and the science behind it to really entertain and engage students in STEM activities, getting them to see that, science is behind the music. The music is just math. And understanding those types of intersections really help them advance their love for science and gets it to be something that's practical and relatable. So big ups to you for all the work that you're doing in the community. I'm looking forward to his guest appearance on our show. And also big shout out to Chris Maynard. He is the director of philanthropy for the Turk House in Baltimore. They do a great job in outreach in the community and really helping people who have issues with addictions and substance use get the treatment that they need to change their lives. So big up to him. And ladies and gentlemen, I get to tell you about today. Woo! I don't think y'all are ready for today. Today we got Tray Kearney on, and she's going to talk to us about infidelity. Yeah, I said it. The no side chicking movement is her creation, and it really focuses back in on fidelity and what that looks like in relationships. She is a healing agent. We're going to talk about that. And you know what? I'm going to stop talking to you about who she is. I'm going to let her talk to you about who she is. Let's see. Wait, we got one more. Oh, there she goes. I love it. Hey.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Tray.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. So tell us a healing agent, because I know we talk a lot here about trauma and the impact that it has and how it follows you in all of your decisions. So as a healing agent, that sounds very interesting to me. Like, okay, well, wait a minute, I might be able to use some of that. Tell me what a healing agent is.
A healing agent is, I work with men, women, and family who have dealt with the devastation of infidelity. And people want to be healed, so they go to people thinking that a person can heal them. I can't heal anybody. I'm not God. I am not Jesus the Christ. So I am a healing agent. I am the neosporin, right? I come
Okay.
Right, I give you tools and tips, and I walk you through the process, arm in arm, hand in hand, to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I am a certified life and relationship coach, but I'm an agent. I aid you in healing. You have to want to heal, first of all. So I can't come to you and say, you should do my program, or you should let me coach you. Right? Because I'm not going to heal you. I'm not going to lay hands on you. I'm a healing agent. I can help you if you are willing to go through the process and the journey of self-discovery, accountability, and self-love.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of people where some of those things are problematic. And I'll use myself as an example. I had to, throughout my life, I calibrated what love was based on what my experience was, how I felt about it. But I remember it was incredibly traumatic for me and disappointing. Not big trauma, little trauma. Well, it was a little big, where I took a quiz about healthy love, and I was like, oh, I test well. And plus, I've studied love my whole life. And so I took this quiz, 20 questions. Now, for me, if I get less than an 80 on your test, you need to look at your test, because I test well. I got a 0 out of 20. And it was devastating. And then to read the explanations on why what I was going for was massively not only not healthy, positive, but it was actually unhealthy it was an incredible realignment of everything I thought I knew.
Yes.
So how do you work? I would have thought like, oh, I know what love is, and I want to help you help me self-love, but there was a whole definition that I thought I knew that I didn't. So how do you work with people from the beginning, like to even know sometimes that there's a problem?
Well, first of all, you said a good word, experiences, right? Our experiences are meant to teach us, not to mold us. So
Oh,
many.
wait, whoa. What? Say that again. I said you can't move too quickly here. I haven't had breakfast. Go ahead. Say it slow.
Yes, our experiences are meant to teach us and not to mold us, right?
Okay.
Get molded by their experiences. We've all been through trauma. Every person on this planet has been through some level of trauma. People think,
damn sure right now.
Yeah, people think because they have not been molested, people think because they have not been exposed to drug addiction or something dramatic like that, they think they have not been exposed to trauma, but it shows up in their lives. And I start with people, first of all, I make sure they don't need a therapist, right? I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist. That's above my pay grade, right? With myself. I did not go to school for that. I am not digging up the roots from your past, from what your granddaddy did. I am a certified life and relationship coach, and I get you from where you are to where you are trying to go. So first, as my coach taught me, I help people locate themselves, right? Where are you right now in your life? Where are you right now? Because sometimes, I'm not even gonna say a lot of times, most of the time we are the problem. People only do to you what you expect and what you accept. Right?
We gotta have a conversation about that. I'm gonna say. Yeah. So here's my pushback, and because again, I want to make sure that I'm aligned. I don't want to get stuck here and then be like, well, what else did she say? Because I was stuck. So people do what the hell they want to do, in my estimation, because if you are standing next to, and most of the people I know who've gotten shot have not wanted to get shot. Right. And so, and again, I'm using that as a hyperbolic example to kind of illustrate this point, because I've also learned that nuance is not for everybody. So you did not, and again, talking about infidelity, you didn't ask for that to happen. Right. So it's not what you allowed to happen. It's not what you created to happen. That was somebody else's choice that hit you. So I want to make sure, like, when you're saying that people only do what you allow them to do, that you can set boundaries and people can violate them. So I wanted to dig more into that.
Right. Okay. Well, there's a difference between being a victim and a volunteer. So if you want to talk about victims, those are people who've been shot. You're the victim. Right now, we talk about people in control of their space and in control of their life, right? There are certain things that I expect from you, William, and there are things that I don't accept from you, right? So I have authority over this space. I have authority over my life. Now, if you do something to me, I am a victim unexpectedly. You jump out of a bush on me and rob me. The first time you jump out of that bush, I'm a victim. If I walk past that bush tomorrow knowing I got robbed on Martin Luther King Boulevard, and I don't want to say that as you know what I'm saying, but
yeah, I get it.
If you jumped out of that bush and I go back that way, I'm making myself a victim, a volunteer.
Nah. So I want to separate things. So I realize I get the distinction in what we're talking about. You're talking about the nature of your relationship. Yes. If things continue to happen in a voluntary relationship, things that your acquiescence to taking it means that now you are okay. You're at least okay with it being part of the process, right? Which is different than you setting a boundary, you saying, hey, this is not appropriate in our relationship, and them violating the boundary. That's not on you. What you do next is a decision.
Right. And let me tell you something about boundaries. Okay. Everybody hear this. Everybody. The only person that has to respect your boundaries is you. That is a key factor. The only person who has I set boundaries. I am the only one who has to respect those boundaries, because if a person crosses it and I allow them to, they're going to cross a boundary again. Some people, you need to respect my boundaries. No, I need to. We set boundaries, right? And non-negotiable. And then we negotiate and we allow people to cross those boundaries. When don't put your hands on me in a relationship, right, William?
Right.
Don't cross. This is about don't cross this man. Don't put your hands on me.
Right.
I must respect my boundaries and my non-negotiables. You don't have to. I just have to be the one to say, okay, that was a non-negotiable and a boundary. This person did that. You no longer have access to me to that degree, or you no longer have access to me at all.
So, but be careful. For me, one of the issues around stuff like this, I tell people to be careful, is because there are relationship and power dynamics that turn that concept into self-abuse, or you turn it into like you victimize yourself, because there are some people, and let's use your example about don't put hands on me. There are people who are like, okay, that is a boundary, and that's a hard boundary that most people be like, oh, that makes perfect sense. But what happens is that you set that boundary, that your partner crosses that boundary, and you have no control over any of your finances. You don't have the resources because you didn't anticipate this. So you may be in a situation. And again, I just want to make sure that people understand that you're setting the boundary and you're being able to enforce that boundary. That's you need to have resources to enforce it, because if you set a boundary, it's basically setting people up for failure. It's like talking about infidelity. It's kind of like, if you cheat on me, I'm gonna leave you, and and you cheat me, and I realize I don't even know a lawyer, and so now when I set the boundary, I should have realized, or I need to consider whether I even have the resources to enforce it.
Right. Let me just tell you this.
Yeah.
These are my non-negotiables. You can't hit me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be addicted to anything, and you can't cheat on me. These are my non-negotiables. If I get in a situation and I marry somebody and they cheat on me, right, and I find it together, what I do is I don't just leave and victimize myself. I take time to set up a plan to remove myself from that situation. I'm not going to, and this is for women who are listening, who might be like, well, I got to stay with him because I don't have finances, or I got to stay with him because I don't have any place to go. I'm not telling you to uproot your kids and take y'all out of that house and be uncomfortable. I'm telling you to come up with a plan of action now. I'm telling you, yes, I had this conversation with you. I told you that I was not going to accept infidelity in my home. Now you don't have to tell this person, but they already knew from the beginning that you can't cheat on me. So now my job as the woman in that house with my children, so they don't get a bad blueprint, that they don't think dysfunction is normal, to plan my exit. We don't have to. So many people think like, my husband cheated on me or my husband hit me, I got to just get out of here. I got to uproot myself and go to a shelter.
Right.
Domestic violence, if you're really in fear of your life, no. You
absolutely get out.
You a coach, you get you a lawyer, you get you somebody, you get you a team together to say, how am I going to navigate through this to get out of this home? How much do I need 6 months to move into a small apartment? What does it?
But here's the other part too. I think one of the places to start, though, honestly, is starting in with the mental health piece for you, because this is going to be, especially if there's a power dynamic, there's going to be an incredible emotional toll that the entire process is going to take on you. And so one of the places that you might want to start is talking to some of your friends who may have been through something similar, or find organizations that have therapists and counselors and support systems specifically designed for that. And also be clear that just because people care don't mean that they can be helpful. Because I know a lot, hell, I know I've been the person in the past when I had bad thoughts about like, oh, my view of the world was messed up. I know a lot of the advice that I gave when I was younger was toxic as hell.
Right. Because listen, most people in your circle, your friends, your girls, your guys, most people are giving you advice based on their experiences.
That's all they can do. That's all they can do.
But you have to remember, experiences are to teach you and not to mold you. So when you're going to get advice from people, understand some people have been molded from their experiences. A lot of people, like people will tell somebody that's 22, don't get married now, their parents or don't get married because that marriage is not going to last. And then some people will tell you at 22, I got married to my husband at 22. We 86 right now. We've been together and we've been rocking and it's good. You cannot take advice from people based on their experiences. I advise people myself, yes, you should have a group of friends. I have 4 girlfriends. They are my core, right? They are my girls. But I don't go to them for professional advice, right? I go to them.
Everything ain't for everybody.
I go to them when I want to get the hot sauce, when I want somebody on my team to say, yeah, let's get the baseball bats, or let's go do this, or we should. That's when I go to them. And then you got to know the place where people are in your life. Like one of my girls, she's my prayer warrior. I call her Prayer. That's not my other girl, right? That's my other girl I call. She's a you know what? She's a grammar Nazi, right? When I need a document done, I call.
You talk to her, absolutely. Everybody, but well, Chap has this point as about sounds like part of the conversation requires financial planning and preparedness. Many of our people don't have the capacity without the intentionality, and that is such a great point. Primarily because when we get into these relationships, and this is, my experience as a lawyer and kind of a business coaching, when we get into these relationships, we get into the relationships with the it's pregnant with possibilities,
Yes.
all of the happiness. And I tell them when I used to do prenuptial agreements and stuff like that, when I would do these other things, it would be like, hey, I hope you never look at this document again. I hope you do, because that means that everything you thought in your head, and as that thing evolved, you all were still on the same page. But I don't write documents for that. I write documents for the apocalypse. I write documents for the day the horrible thing happens that none of us have ever thought about, that, oh my God, I've known her in my soul and she would never do something like that to me. Like that's what I write documents for that.
Yes.
And again, I hope you never have to use them.
Yes.
But part of the challenge is that level of preparedness that you're talking about sounds like part of your crafting your own identity.
Yes.
You have decided that these are the things in my life, and it's more than just you have these friends or you have this mate or you have these things. You have decided. And you have decided that because these boundaries are important to you, you have decided to take the steps necessary to pull the resources together, whether they're intellectual, they're emotional, spiritual, financial, to ensure that you have the wherewithal to enforce your boundaries. Is that?
Yeah.
Because that's what I got. And I know sometimes I read shit. Damn it, I said that. My bad. All right, so I did it again. Okay, let somebody call Donnie and tell him I cursed on the thing. So it's whatever.
Say too.
Huh?
Take your brain with you along with your heart. Some things are heartfelt and some things are logical. You need to use logic. Every woman and every man, because men get abused too.
Absolutely.
Men get left with no money.
Absolutely.
Women go drain the bank account too, and all that other good stuff. Everybody in the relationship should be paying attention to everything. I heard women say, well, I don't know how to pay this bill, or I didn't know this was going on, because you weren't paying attention. And life is happening to us all day, every day, right? I have a son who's on the autism spectrum, who's 12 years old, who's nonverbal. I could be so engrossed in that, but I had to learn how to juggle, right? The important things, and not let some things gonna fall, but it can't be the important things, like knowing when ish has hit the fan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just have to pay attention. Like I think it was David that said it in the comment. You must be prepared for whatever's going to happen. There's a level of, we are not in 1952, right? With women, we are not in 1978, 69. There are things that we learned back in the day. Women didn't have the opportunity or the resources to know things. This is not the times that we're living in. So you must use your brain when you go into a relationship. So many times, and this is so true. Women are creatures, and men are more logical. It's true.
So wait, let's do this a little bit. I like where this is going. We're gonna have some fun now. So part of it one of the things that we talked about, and especially with some of our guests who've talked around trauma and stuff like that, is that at the point that you are not making, to your point, at the point that the decision doesn't make sense, recognize that the person you're talking to isn't dealing with logic. So to your point, when you are capable and competent and understand all of these things, and you are moved beyond the limitations of your training, the spiritual and emotional and educational limitations, I get being able to do that. But let's talk the step before. If a lot of women have been, again, and this is my experience with my friends and what I have seen, have been taught that they are responsible for their roles, and they've been held to the standard where you need to work like you don't have kids and raise your kids like you don't have a job. And many women are trained in that way. And what example I gave is, Thanksgiving, it was absolutely not uncommon for my male cousins and I to be outside playing football while the female cousins were inside helping cook and prepare. Right. And so that training, that training about being in service and then all of the other things about if you're not perfect, because I see your faces. I like the way you beat your face this morning with the hair a little right here. And it's enough to be like, I look good, but not like I tried to look good. And I appreciate that. But you had to think about it. I washed off my face, made sure I shaved. I'm good.
Right.
And so to get beyond, or how do we start with the, guess what? All of the things you've been told about wanting to be emotionally safe, all of the poor attachments that you have had in your life, all of the horrible stories from women who were abused mentally, emotionally, and spiritually themselves that you have learned and incorporated. I think that's the place before what you're talking about. Because what you're talking about is once you get there, like, you know what? I don't have to do these things.
Right.
This is my role is not to make plates. I can make plates if I want to, but I don't have to. And then it sounds like your part comes in and it makes perfect sense there. But before then, when I was like, why don't you make his plate all the time? Why he needs to eat for, like, how do you get from, or is it okay if I believe that?
Yeah, it's okay. Everybody is an individual, right? Everybody's individual. We've all been raised through different lenses, right?
Okay.
We have to learn to stop looking at other people's relationship as relationship goals, right? Then we have
say it, killer hashtag right now. Killer hashtag, girl.
Right. We have to stop looking at other people's relationship as relationship goals. William, what works in your house don't work in my house. And I'm saying this at 52 years old right now. I'm clear with whoever I'm going to be with, and I'm single right now, but I'm clear with whoever I'm going to be with. Dude, I'm not cooking every night. I mean, I cook, and if you good to me, I cook your favorite sometimes, but sometimes I'm not cooking. And if you, as a man, there's some things that you don't want to do. Listen, I'll get up and take the trash out. The trash need to be taken out. It's not that serious.
Hey, wait. Don't you can't take away taking out the trash. That is one of the easiest layups we got. You can't have that, okay? I walk outside for 50 feet and I'm a hero. No, ma'am, you cannot take out the trash, damn it. That's my trash, okay?
I'm just saying it's not that far-fetched for me. If I wake up, the trash is full.
Yeah, no, I get it.
At work, I'm not waiting for you to come home from work to take the trash out. Like we have to navigate through this life and do what is best for us and what's healthy for the two people who come together. And healthy people. Let me say this. The one thing that everybody needs to understand, and especially women, we have to learn to ask for help. We have to get the help that we need. We are not Superwoman. We are not Batgirl. We are human, flesh and blood. And the first step, William, to get to where I am right now in my life, first I had to acknowledge that I was part of the problem.
Okay.
Right? To acknowledge that you grew up in a dysfunctional home, girl. You ain't got no business yelling at nobody's son like that and popping your neck. You ain't got no business being out married. You ain't got no business being out, come home at 4 o'clock in the morning, drunk, stagnant from twerking. And we didn't twerk back then, but you know we did.
Yeah, it's popping. Yeah, I remember.
You ain't got no business doing these things. So I had to be.
But wait, why not?
Because I was somebody's wife.
Okay.
I was somebody's wife. He had expectations and boundaries, right?
Okay.
I wanted to respect some expectations and boundaries that I had, right? I expected this man to pay all the bills. I expected this man to be a provider, a protector, and all them other good things. He expected me to be a wife, a mother. He expected me to not be drunk. Okay, ma'am, have your glass of wine, but you drunk. You drinking more shots than a sailor. Come on now. So I had to be accountable for my part in every relationship, and that's where it starts.
But I want to make sure that people understand why that was a problem. I'm not suggesting that that should be the standard in any relationship, but some of it was the problem because he had expectations and you had expectations, and this was again part of this intellectual negotiation portion of the relationship. Right. It may mean that, the reality is that I know when I was doing that, and it sounds like we might have even been at the same places because. But we're going to talk about that off camera. That's disrespectful to talk about that here. But I used to do stuff like that, and I didn't realize, but it was part of my coping. The behavior itself was literally a cry for help.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Dysfunction is not normal. But if you come from dysfunction, right? My ex-husband's lens was totally different than mine, right? Let me just tell you what his life was like. His life was, he had a mom and dad that was married from teenagers. They had 13 children. The dad went to work, was a provider, protector. The mother stayed home. The daughter did, like you said, they cooked on Thanksgiving. The boys played sports, outside music, all of that other good stuff. I came from, my mama was divorced, left my dad causing infidelity because she cheated, which I follow right in her footsteps. God rest her soul, but it was a pattern. I came from parties in my house, my aunties coming over, getting drunk, Johnny Walker Red come out in the winter.
Oh, not the Johnny Walker Red, baby. Did you have the red light parties too? The red light parties in the basement?
The red light parties in the basement, and that was my normal. He had never seen this before. He was like, and we had a pool, right? We had a pool.
Oh, you was off the chain. You was off the chain.
He come home from work. He like, yo, Tray, like, it's Tuesday, boo. Like, he's like, this not the community pool. I'm like, yo, that's our family and friends. Yo, we got a pool. And he's like, yo, you know, the boys need to be in bed at a certain time. We had this big, kind of sort of a blowout. He wanted us to sit at the table and eat. And, you know, my son wanted to go in his room. And I was like, let him go in the room. He need. So our lenses so totally different. And we never customized what it was that we did, because I needed help to see that he wasn't a stick in the mud, because the very things that he was giving me back then is what I crave now. I just was.
Actually, here's the thing. It's like what I realized, and my ex-wife, same kind of thing. Maybe not the same thing, but the thing was that I came to the marriage with a whole story in my head about what life was like, and the reality is that had we had a really meaningful conversation, we would have never gotten married. Now, I'm grateful we did. It was a great experience, and I have two amazing boys. But like, the reality is that we weren't compatible. I was caught in a fantasy story that was going to make us. We were going to become relationship goals,
right?
And so it sounds like, you know, the same kind of thing with you guys. Like, you all, each of you came to, this is what my wife is going to do, and you like, this is what my family's going to do, without actually talking to each other. And it's like, now, why aren't you wifing better? Like, why are you not providing a stable home and we could be cleavers? And you're like, we are grown ass people, could do what the hell we want. So why is we going, and we have a pool, bro? What did you think was going to happen when we had a pool? What did you think was going to happen? Were you at the wedding reception, bro? Did you think we just turned that off after I do? Come on, bro. Come on. We turned up now. Right. And the thing is, like, had you found somebody, what I also have found is that had you found, well, at least I believe, let me get back to that. I mean, this ain't no findings, it's a belief that when people get together who have both of those things in common, they burn through each other. Like, two boring people, or two, shouldn't say boring, I apologize, that was pejorative. Two stable people. Because especially as I've gotten older, I'm like, stability. Oh, you mean that we could just sit? No. We don't got it. There's nobody else we gotta go to help them do something. So you just gonna sit here with me, and we gonna just lay here.
Right. And we don't gotta get drunk. And I, you know, I'm not knocking anybody who has a relationship where they don't mind their lady being drunk. Right. Right. That's their thing.
But that's your relationship, though.
Right. That's their.
And it sounds like you're saying that you have to understand who you are, what your boundaries are, get comfortable with that, and then just be like, hey, guy, ma'am, this is who I am. This is the things I require, and make sure you understand that you cross a boundary, there's going to be some shit to pay. Damn it again.
Right. This is my thing. This is really my thing too. People say never, right? I say my non-negotiables are not negotiable, right? Because this is what keeps me healthy, right? My non-negotiables and my boundaries, they keep me healthy. Maybe you're not going to honor your non-negotiables and your boundaries. If you cheat on me, I'm done. Period. Don't call. If you my husband, I'm planning my exit. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna just get up and leave. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not going nowhere because I'm not gonna live in the street. I'm not going to no hotel. You could leave, but this is done. I told you don't cheat on me. If you put your hands on me, you getting out. Period. You got to go. And if you're addicted to anything, and again, William, like you said, these are conversations that we need to have at the beginning. Because I'm gonna tell you, William, listen, bro, if you have any addictions, you should tell me now so I can walk away. Because if I find out along this journey, whether we are married or not, I'm not staying for it. It's a trigger for me, right? It brings up PTSD.
But again, I really want to make sure that we anchor into the fact that these are decisions you made as part of your mental health. Because I think a lot of times we get caught up into the whole it'll feel right, and we take our mental and emotional health and act like they're the same thing.
Right.
Our mental health is how we think and process information. Our emotional health is how we feel. And while they're related, the issue is like there are some people who I have loved, like in a very primal spiritual way, that I know that if we were ever together, we would destroy each other and maybe the whole world. I mean, like it is that combustible and volatile. But it doesn't. But I was able to decouple those. Like that love, that feeling was great, but I also could see that it would destroy me. Like it would hurt too much, and so I had to make a conscious decision to be like, "Hey, I love you, and I'm not going to pretend that I don't. Like I don't. But us together, I cannot be what you want me to be. I'm wild. I am wild, off the chain. I get tired of me. I get tired of me. So like I can't. This idea, especially because I've had issues with fidelity in my life, because I don't understand it, to be quite frank. And some of it I realized was from some of the trauma in my life growing up and stuff like that. But so it's one of those things, like I had to tell somebody, who's like, I don't know if I could do that. And if that's a definite deal breaker, I'm not the one. It will hurt. And I think that's the thing. We often try to protect our feelings so we don't have to have that pain, and we end up digging ourselves in a hole. I don't want to lose you.
Right.
Oh, go ahead, Sadie. I'm sorry.
We manipulate people by not telling the truth, right? So I know if I tell you a certain thing about me, you might want to be with me. So we don't think we're manipulating people, but we are, right?
Oh no, we're absolutely not. But here's the thing: what we talk about often on the show is that manipulation isn't necessarily bad,
right?
Because sales is manipulation. Somebody wanted to do something different with their money, and I'm trying to convince them, no, you should give it to me. Like, what's your business gonna do without me? Hello, do you want the Louis Vuitton bag? Ain't gonna make you no more money, but working with me, man.
Right.
And so it is manipulating them. But, and a lot of times the challenge with that is that people look at their intent. If I love you and I'm just trying to keep our family together, then lies make sense. The issue that I learned, because I also had a problem with lying. It kind of got lying and infidelity kind of go hand to hand. And so I was like, when do you come clean? And this, what I realized is that a lot of time our desires to come clean are not even about the person that we've cheated on. It is about, I feel like I need cleansing. So I'm going to tell you some stuff that's going to mess you up, but you should be happy because I'm honest now, because you always said you want honesty. But what we don't realize is that it's not that I want honesty. It's first and foremost, I don't want you to do the stuff. Like, I think honesty is the secondary conversation. The primary conversation is don't do the stuff. If you do stuff, you're going to have to lie. And that's, again, but lying is way down the road.
Right. But that's why we have to have our boundaries and non-negotiables in place from the beginning to protect our peace, to protect our mental wellness. We really have to have these lines in the sand define that this is what you're not going to do. And this is what healthy people do, right? Because people will tell me, and we talked about this last night on my show, we talked about toxicity. People tell me, oh, I'm in a toxic relationship. He's doing this and he's doing that and blah, blah. I said, listen, let's stop right there. If you're in a toxic relationship, you're toxic, because healthy people plan and they leave. I don't deal with toxic people. I really don't. I will let a person know, like, you know what, that right there makes me feel some kind of way. So I don't think that's,
So let's again talking about toxic people, because again, I want to make sure that we're clear. Toxicity is really about you as the recipient. And why I say this is that using physics, because this there we use the physiological as the metaphor for the mental and emotional. There are some people who alcohol is toxic.
Yes.
Like it is literally poison to humans.
Yes.
And so as you navigate through these spaces, recognize that some things that may not have had a toxic effect on you,
right,
early on, they may not have had a toxic effect on you. As your system changes, as your mental health changes, as you get stronger, you may be able to drink more, so you could deal with somebody who triggers you a little, who used to, what they used to do would trigger you, but right now, because you're healthier, I get it, I can navigate through. Or opposite may happen. When I was 20, I used to, one night, 2.5 bottles of Mad Dog 2020. That's Whoa. How I used to go. That's how hard I had issues. Right. So, but now the third glass of Jack, and I'm like, whoa, guys, whoa, because my system has changed, and that's okay to happen in relationships. Yes. It should. And using fidelity as an example, because I know that is the core of your work. Like, fidelity has different meanings to different people. Yes. Like, I know people who are in swinging lifestyles and stuff like that. Fidelity has nothing to do with where your genitals or your mouth goes. Right. Fidelity has to do, well, actually, I know one couple in particular, they were like, it's all good except kissing. If you kiss anybody else, that is it. Like, we don't have anything. And I was like, so wait a minute, let me make sure I understand this. But that was the rules for their situation. And and for them, infidelity would have been like you being out with somebody and, kissing up on them in a thing. That would have been the deal breaker. For other people, it's like, I'm sorry, you might as well just throw that in as like a perk. Like, I don't understand, but it really comes back, and that's an extreme example, but it comes down to what works in your relationship. Because back to your thing about relationship goals, sometimes we create our deal breakers based on somebody else's when it's not really a big deal to us. We're trying to mimic somebody else's stuff. Go ahead, talk about that for a little bit.
Right. No, my relationship, my deal breakers are my deal breakers. And when I deal with my clients, they like, what's an example of a deal breaker? And I'll say and I'll give them an example, like, my deal breaker is you can't cheat on me. That may not be a deal breaker for you, and that's okay. And don't let nobody tell you.
That's okay.
If you're okay that your husband cheated and you want to work it out, or your boo or your babe.
Wait. Cheated. Make sure you also define cheated and sleeping around, because guess what? Those aren't necessarily the same things depending on how you all define it.
Right. And this is another thing. When I talk to people, if I'm dating or if I'm with a man, we're talking about infidelity, or we're talking about cheating, I'm clear to talk to him about that. For me, you can't be up in nobody DMs talking about hearty eyes and hey boo. But for another woman, that might be okay. But
I was like, oh, that's just flirting. Absolutely.
No, but for me, it's not, because cheating starts long before the bedroom. Cheating is forming emotional bonds with people, right? Having intimate conversations about me and my man. You shouldn't be having no conversation with a woman about our problem or what we're doing in our house, and vice versa. I shouldn't be like, William, oh, my man, he did this and he did that, because now I'm becoming connected to you and I'm dependent on you for a certain level of emotion to support me through what I'm going through in my house. No, I need to be talking to my man, but that's not for everybody. Some women may say, oh, right. I don't care if husband DMs women on Facebook, or I don't care. That's not me. So when we define cheating, we have to have real and this is what's missing right now. We have to have real conversations with people to say, this is what you're not going to do. This is where I draw the line in the sand. And sometimes, like I said, a man won't, or a woman won't think they're cheating because that's appropriate behavior. Like,
right.
She always comes over when I'm out of town and gets my mail for me. She has a key to my house.
Yeah.
But that's normal for him until I say to him, you need to get your key back from old girl, or me and you ain't gonna work out.
Right. And again, I love the way that you're talking about having the conversation, because it really does come down to the conversation. Yeah. And what emotional health looks like, just like what physical health looks like, is different. The type of car that you get versus the kind of car I get may be different. Right. I've seen your website. I'm sure it's different. I've seen your stuff. It's absolutely different than mine. But like, it doesn't make your car better than mine or worse than mine. It is mine. because I got some, my clothes the same way. I used to be angry at my dad because he used to wear the same pair of jeans all the damn time, to the point where the hole was in the back of them. And I was like, you can do so much better. Like, why would you spend your life going in public looking like that? Until a few months ago, I realized my favorite pair of jeans had a hole in the back pocket. And I realized,
again, we come from different lenses, right? So if my mother fried chicken and she shook the chicken in the flour, she put the flour, just say my mother fried chicken, she put the flour in the bag and she shook the chicken. Now the man I'm with, he looking at me like I'm crazy because his mother put the flour on the plate and my mom put the flour in the bag, the seasoning in the bag, but his mom put the chicken on the plate, seasoned the chicken, rolled the chicken around the flour. He ain't wrong and I ain't wrong. We just two different lenses of this is how your fried chicken, this is how I fried chicken. So, bro, if you're gonna fry the chicken, do it your way. But I'm gonna.
But I think to that point, it comes to, let's make sure that we are open to not having the stories in our head met. Because if I'm coming to the table, I've shared this with the audience before, I had a view of my family. I knew what my role in the man, what we should look like, our relationship goals, and I kept pushing us toward it. I spent so much time. I spent so much time doing that I missed out on the opportunity to actually get to know them. And once I got to know them, I was like, you motherfuckers, you people are pretty cool. Like, how did you all? But it was until I got out of that. Like, if my wife already always does chicken because I love that, and she wears this outfit I like, and it looks in this image, when you get in there, you shaking the bag, it's like, that look ghetto.
Right.
Why are you doing that? Because I thought you were classier than that. And again, it's just that I'm not open to you. I have this image of who you should be. And I think that's also one of the places where infidelity kicks in. And I'll just speak for me. It's like, I couldn't have the story of the perfect family, so I was able to get the story of the perfect side life.
Right.
It was romantic. It was everything that I was missing when I realized, it took me a while to realize I never actually had that stuff. It was all just stories in my head.
Right. And we create those stories where we want to create them, right? And life happens. And let's just talk a little bit about infidelity. If you take care of home the way that you're taking care of this new relationship with the side chick or the side dude, because I got here by way of committing adultery. It wasn't my husband that did it. It was me, in case people didn't know. Because people are like, oh, she's an infidelity coach. And most of the time when I say this out loud, they be like, her husband, I'm so sorry you got cheated on. I'm like, it was me. Like, I mean, after I left and everything, the man I was with cheated on me, but the initial ball rolling started with me. So we have to really dig into this infidelity thing of, we have to be responsible for our own actions, right? People always ask me, well, why do people cheat? Because I believe everybody cheats for one reason. Yeah. One reason that everybody cheats, but we have our excuses. Our excuses are different. But the one reason I believe everybody cheats is because there's a level of immaturity, right? So whatever area you are immature in, that is going to be your excuse. Oh, I cheated because my husband didn't pay attention to me, right?
I don't, and I want to make sure that when we say immature, you're talking about not well developed, right? Like if your sense of self is not well developed, that's what you're going out to find, somebody to reinforce that. If your self-love is not well developed, that immature, like it's not mature. It's not that you're kid-like. It's just you have not really developed that financially. If you have not developed yourself financially, somebody who could spend money on you is like, oh my God, you are the one. If you haven't been able to get that stuff you've seen people doing porn, the person who can make you do that, you have not been, you are not developed well in that space. Okay.
Right. That development in that area of communication for me, right? I got married when I was 21 years old. This is just the reasons why but I was immature. I didn't know how to tell my husband I wasn't getting what I needed. So I went out and somebody gave me a little bit of attention. It put a crack in the door. I was like, oh, okay. Your hair is nice. You smell good. So
one of the things you talked about though is and I know because I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to plug all your stuff, because I know you do a lot of stuff. So we're gonna give you the last 5 minutes to plug it all. But and we're gonna have to have you back to kind of wrap up this conversation, or actually forget wrapping it up. We want to extend it. But some of it is this idea that it still comes back to how you see yourself, how open you are to a different way of thinking. Because, like you said before, both of you all were right about your ideal versions because they were your ideal versions of what your family life should be because they were yours. And communicating, I think, sometimes comes up short because I give you my story, you give me your story. Okay, but we don't talk about what it looks like to build that story.
Right.
Because to have the happy family I'm looking for, these are the things we do. To have the carefree family that you're looking for, these are the restrictions we can't have. People can just come over our house whenever they want.
Right. We have to.
And it's like, wait.
There's a compromise there, right? Like Trey, Tuesdays are not good for the pool, right? You got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The family could come over. They could be in the pool. That is a great compromise, unless I'm immature and I want what I want. If I want them over on Tuesday, this man was working 16 hours a day sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, well provided for.
Yes.
You want these things, then you have to.
But why? But the issue comes back to, why would you think that wasn't to be expected? Back to your point, like you had a view of life and you were just straight making your story come true, and nobody talked about the differences in the story.
Right. Wow. We needed to open our eyes to what the compromise looked like for us. The boy can't eat in the room because this is the time, and we need to just have open conversation. Pray, this is the time that we're going to sit down and we're going to have family conversation to check in and see how everybody's doing. I'm not trying to make you do something that you don't want to do. I'm not bullying you because we feel like somebody's trying to tell us what to do.
But that is wait. That is bullying. That is constraining the behavior. The issue is that there's nothing wrong with it. So it is that I want you to do different things. I want you to have less freedoms, and that's one of the reasons we're together. And so that you can get the benefits, but it's going to cost you this. But sometimes we don't think about the cost. We get in the whip and we look at, oh, I'll drive this. Then they show us the payments. Like, oh my God, who phone number is that? Why would I spend that much on a car?
Right. And we just have to be really mindful, really mindful of what really matters. What really matters to you
for us.
What do you really need to thrive in a relationship? What do I really need to thrive in a relationship? And we need to have that conversation and say, you know what? Well, like you said, you're really not the person for me. I do love you, but we would be so much better as friends, and we could go out and party and jump on the bar. But as a collective and a couple who is trying to build wealth and a home in harmony, that's not going to work. We're going to be fighting. We're gonna be fighting because our personalities are going to clash. You're not willing to compromise. I'm not willing to compromise.
Right.
A lot of times, the main thing that we have to realize is when we come in contact with people in our circle who can agree to disagree, it is harmony. It is harmony. It's okay. I don't agree with you, William. I get your point. I don't agree with you, but I get your point.
Yeah, we talk about that often. Yeah.
Yes.
And to your point that but making sure that the things that we don't agree upon are things that are not like life-threatening. Like, so if we have vaccine disagreements at this point over our kids, that's not, or I'm sorry, that whether I deserve to vote or not, that's a different issue. We're not, but to the other points, it really does, again, comes back down to what you have clearly mastered is being creating your own identity. Saying this is me and this is not me, and being okay with that for whatever the consequences are. Tell people how they can get in contact with you, because they need to know stuff. They need to talk to you some more. Because I'm gonna tell you, did you think we had fun here? Oh, we had a 15-minute call that lasted a whole bunch of hours. So y'all better not start playing around here. So yeah, that's why I keep looking at the clock, like, because I ain't trying to get in trouble, Donnie, I get a little text message like Donnie's like, hey, bro, you still on? Like, oh, sorry.
Everybody, you can find me at all things at Tray Kearney, TRAYKEARNEY. My website is www.traykearney.com. I am Googleable. You can find me all over the place. Put in Tray Kearney, healing agent Tray Kearney, and I will pop up.
Is that it? Is that it right there?
Yep. That's
there
it.
You go. There you go. Y'all better get up on it. I'm sorry, my devices are going off. Oh, you know what? I think I am getting I call it like you look like you're going long, bro.
At Tray Kearney.
Tray Kearney. And again, there's a lot of we didn't even get into the whole heartbreak analysis and assessment. But one of the things I tell you guys all the time is that I know dope people and I bring them to you. And Tray has services that you could benefit from. Go to the website, look her up. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. And worst case scenario, you just get to meet and learn more about another dope Black woman I know.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, Tray. Well, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Whew, we did it again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We have made it to the climactic conclusion of another show. Thank you, Tray, so much for just blessing us and giving us an opportunity to really think about life in relationships and being able to craft our own identity and who we are and who we can be. As always, I am grateful for an opportunity to share the dope Black people I know with you guys. Tomorrow we will have Dr. Quinyon Scott on, and she'll talk to us about navigating a career as a professional educator. All right, have a great one. I need to start wearing my glasses, don't I?